Yeah. Gotta aim for the top like. Hold up. Yeah. I can never doubt myself. I know better. All of you critics be acting like you know better.
Here's a fact. If you ask yourself that question, does this feed my faith, my family, or my finances? And it doesn't. If you do that, I guarantee it'll guide your decisions.
No, I'm in my element. Ooh, yeah. I'm in my element. Ooh.
Podcast, all things entrepreneurship, people who just take life and kick it square in the ass. I'm your host, Tim Rexius. My special co-host today, VR Physique's owner, Nick Langer. Baby Rhino. Baby Rhino's in the house, folks.
What's up,
Baby
guys?
Rhino's in the house. And, we threw up some on Instagram this morning. People have questions, and actually we got quite a few in, and I just picked up 6 of them that I was going to jump on today. Before we get into that, let's go with where you're at right now. Man, you've been competing.
Yeah.
You won Junior Nationals.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Fucking badass.
It is badass.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those experiences. Sadly, I mean, Junior Nationals is not the bodybuilding show it used to be.
Yeah.
So I take it with a grain of salt, mostly because that's just who I am.
Yeah.
But it's still a victory. Still was able to actually go in there and win the entire show, which is still an accomplishment, and do what I set out to do, which was get my name known by the judges and kind of known before we go to USA's here in less than 4 weeks. And so that was fun, man. It's been a winning season this year so far. So we went to the Adela Garcia in Texas, won that show. Went to Junior Nationals, obviously, in Chattanooga, won that show. And it's been a wild ride. It's been fun. And, I would say majority of people that have been around me can tell that I'm not nearly as bad as I have been in the past when it comes to prepping. So
not even close, actually. I mean,
mental clarity is a lot better. Probably this past week is about the time that I'm starting to really feel it, though.
Yeah.
We've been dieting now since basically December. So my brain, my body, everything's just kind of ready to be able to have some clarity and be able to actually, get back to kicking ass in the business world a little bit more. But
we got USA's coming up in 3 weeks.
Yep. 3.5 weeks here. So this is kind of the last final push. We took about the 2 weeks post Junior Nationals to try to put on some more mass, try to fill out the areas that they had kind of critiqued me on. And we've done pretty well. So we're kind of sitting 5 to 7 pounds above where I was at weigh-ins. Conditioning's gotten better. And so, we're kind of on the right path. We'll see kind of how the body continues to respond. But, I finally we're turning the corner on as far as how my body's responding. And my metabolic rate has kicked back up. The water retention is starting to drop off. My body's really starting to actually kick and thrive. My best resting heart rate was this morning. There might have been a little bit of cannabis to help that one, but hey, that's neither here nor there.
It's one of the healthiest ingredients on the planet.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, you know what? At the end of the day, the goal was to kind of come out and bring the absolute best that I possibly could, and show everybody that you can execute on multiple levels, doing multiple things at the same time, and kick ass. As long as you can structure it all the right way.
Well, I mean, I think that's something you and I've spoken about in great length over the last many years is that, I've made jokes of it, and part of it, I don't care if I hurt your feelings. But people who are like, all of a sudden they're competing, they take off 2 weeks and it's 5 days off of vacation time. And it's this whole process then post. I'm like, hearing Meadows talk about he'd take off half a Friday, right? Yeah. And just to get there and then go back to work on Monday morning because he had a family to feed, And I think that's the thing between having multiple businesses and having a family where, it's fun. It's a hobby. It's a job. It does factor into everything you do, but being able to balance all of that is it shows that you can do whatever you put your mind to.
Hell yeah.
And actually leads to one of the first questions. And this is definitely for you. Like, what is the biggest challenge of prepping athletes during your own prep?
Honestly, it's the mental clarity to make sure that I'm making the right decisions.
Yeah.
It takes me a little bit longer to kind of get to the end result, when I'm kind of analyzing what I'm seeing and how I'm seeing it. But, the bonus is that I've been doing this for 12 years. So I've got the experience. I know how to make the game plan calls. I know how to make the right calls, when it comes down to making sure that we're manipulating the body correctly and paying attention. And, luckily I have very good competitors that are very good at communication with me.
Yeah.
And so, it's a very easy flow when somebody's actually telling you what's going on, how their body's responding. And we're seeing and tracking all those metrics every single day.
Yeah.
it makes it a lot easier to be able to actually make those calls.
Yeah.
So, and when you have athletes that actually execute like they're supposed to, it makes it easy. Yeah. So, I mean, I would say that's probably the hardest part, is just mentally having the clarity to make sure that you're making the right choice. But that's also the reason why I don't coach myself, is because the aspect of I would think and overthink and whatever it might be with my own prep.
Oh, I know that.
And so it would be one of those things where, when it comes to others, it's a lot easier for me because it's not me. And so
you're removed from it.
Yeah. And so I can make those calls and not feel like I'm making a bad call. And I've done this again long enough that I can see how the body's responding. I can see what we're seeing in the responses that we're getting, and the communication helps to allow me to make those quick calls. Yeah. To make sure that we're getting the most out of those athletes. So, yeah.
Well, I think that's a bit, it's experience. Yeah. Honestly, I mean, you had a dedication to try to do it.
Correct.
And that's the thing with people, like, how do you guys, we're having the questions with multiple businesses. We'll get into in a minute. People ask, how do you guys do multiple things? I'm like, it's dedication. It's discipline. It just takes discipline. Right. It's, if you want it, you'll do it. You'll figure it out.
And I think the big thing is so many people underestimate what they're actually fucking capable of.
100%.
It's one of those things where it's like, and this is kind of the idea. I've got a team of 7 coaches that work underneath me, and it's a constant talk that I have with them is, I'm like, guys, listen, you guys are capable of so much more than you're allowing yourselves to be. And the issue is that majority of the time you guys are running around like chickens with your fucking heads cut off. Yep. Rather than actually structuring your day the way that it should be structured. Mm-hmm. It's one of those aspects of, from a coaching standpoint, a lot of these guys, as I'm teaching them, I'm beginning to understand time management is probably one of the hardest things for a majority of people to do. Yeah. They don't realize how much time they're wasting on just monotonous bullshit that doesn't matter. And they don't understand how to structure their schedule correctly to optimize what they're doing. And that's probably one of the greatest things that you can do. There's a book called Deep Work, which is a great book. Yeah. But it teaches you, okay, if you're really diligent about this, the writer of the book actually had talked about the fact that he was a teacher, professor, and scientist, and he had talked about how many articles he had produced. But he also talked about the fact that he did all of this, and like I don't remember the number, but a lot of research papers, articles, stuff like that. For a scientist to do 3 in a year or something like that is crazy. Yeah, and he would be doing 3 like every 3 months. And he's got a family, and he said, I didn't ever work past 6 p.m. And so I was like, okay, how does this work? Yeah. And when you read that book, you start to understand, oh, okay. So really what it comes down to is creating a structure that you stick to, or creating a structure that is written out. And then when you look at that structure, you go, okay, there might be shit that's going to come up in your day. It's always going to happen. Yeah. But at least we have a structure in place. We have a backbone in place of, okay, from X time to X time, this is what I'm working on. Yep. From X time to X time, this is what I'm working on. And if life happens where a half hour that gets cut out, that's fine. Yeah. But the problem is that people don't structure their days at all. No. And so they're like, okay, well, I'm going to go into the office, and I'm going to be in the office from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. Okay, well, what the fuck are you doing from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., right? It's an aspect of, okay, like if you look at mine's detailed down to the half hour. Mine's detailed down to like, okay, I wake up at 5, from 5 to 5:30, I'm going to give thanks. I'm going to read. At 5:30, I'm going to go for my 45-minute walk. I'm going to get back at 6:15. When I get back at 6:15, I eat breakfast. I prep my meals for the day. Okay, it's 7 o'clock. By 7 o'clock, I'm on the road to the gym. At 7:30, then I'm starting my workout. From 7:30 to 8:30, that's my workout. From 8:30 until noon, like today, Tuesday, it would be like 8:30 till 1-ish. My plan is always do my client work. Yeah. On Tuesdays. And then after that client work, then I have about an hour or so that I have just a break. And then I've got 2 hours for another business,
which we'll touch on in a second.
2 hours for another business. and that's structured for specific timing in what I'm doing during those 2 hours. And then an hour of touch up on anything else that I need from clients. And then I'm home for dinner with the family.
Yeah.
And so my day is structured from 5 a.m. until 6 p.m.
Yeah.
And then I'm at home, and now I'm actually with family. And I had to do this only because of the fact that I started to notice I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off. Number one, my response times were not what I wanted for my people.
Yeah.
Because I'm giving a service and I'm here to serve other people. And I have to make sure that the structure is there to do so. And then on top of that, my family was also suffering by not getting my time.
Yeah.
And so it had to change.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. There are days where it goes to complete shit, where it doesn't actually work the way that I want it to.
Yeah.
But the structure is there. And the effort is there in order to actually execute at a higher level.
Yeah.
And that's what matters. The problem is that the structure for majority of people is not there. And that structure is what helps them actually achieve goals.
Yeah.
Without that structure, there's no direction.
Well, that's the thing I think you'll agree with is that people think they're busy.
Oh, yeah.
And if you tell yourself you're busy and you eat your own bullshit, you'll eat it all day with a spoon and be happy because you're like, I'm busy. And the thing is, you're not busy. Right. And there's shit you're supposed to do, but you keep, as we say, current self kicks it to future self. Uh-huh. And then there's this guilt. Then you feel guilty, like you should, because I could have got that done, but I didn't get it done. But I'm busy. Right. I'm so busy. And it's just a lie we repetitively tell ourselves. Yep. And that's why you're not efficient. Yep. And it's becoming an efficiency. And I think we both agree, being family men, being a family and having kids, and as they get older, it makes you get to a certain level of structure anyways, because
you have to.
I got them all over the place. I got kids all over the damn place. I have to. And it's literally like we had this with the podcast last week. And as Deshaun sitting back there, I'm going to smile a little bit. They decided to post it early. I can't do that, guys. I can't write captions. It's not in my, I can't. Right. I have 19 things planned today. There is no fucking chance for missing anything. And it comes down to necessity. Most people think is busy. I call a slow Tuesday. Yeah. Literally it. Like it's one of those things. And I think that's the biggest thing is when people talk about discipline and dedication, that's part of it. Oh yeah. You have to plan your shit. We've had this, we challenged all of our team members recently. Like, okay, I want you guys to write down what you think you're going to do in the next 2 weeks. Then on a separate book, write down what you actually did. Mm-hmm. And you'll actually see where you can fill in gaps of time for productivity. And then people are like, oh, these are employees. No, these are not employees. These are people who are part of a team. It's different when you have ownership.
Well, and the other aspect is I look at it this way. Anybody that's a part of my business is an entrepreneur. Yep. Okay. You are doing everything you possibly can to be the best inside owner of the business. Yep. Okay. And so at the end of the day, the other thing that not having structure creates is anxiety. Yeah. And that's one of the biggest crushers for majority of people is they're like, man, where the fuck did my day go? Yep. Right. Like I've got 20 things I should have gotten done. And now that's going to keep me up at night because I should be getting it done. Yep. And it's like, okay, I was in the same boat. I'm like, there's got to be a better way to do this because the only thing that's keeping me up at night is the shit that didn't get done. Yeah. And there's only so much time in your day, correct? But there's only so much time in your day, which means if you aren't tracking what you're doing in your day, you're probably bullshitting a lot of that time. Yep. And, the easiest way that the probably the most humbling and self-check way is literally writing down what you've done all day long.
And you'll find out whether you're full of shit or not.
Correct.
Real fast.
Correct. You're going to figure out real quick how much time you wasted and where you wasted time. Mm-hmm. And maybe like, for instance, I noticed that I was wasting a lot of time doing drive time. And I was like, okay, that's got to change. There's got to be, I've got to figure this out. Yeah. Because I'm wasting an hour and a half, 2 hours a day in drive time. Yeah. That's a lot of time.
It's a shitload of time.
So, and there's realistically, you shouldn't be texting and or working while you're driving. And so it's one of those aspects of, okay, if that's the case, then we've got to figure out where we can fix that in order to actually optimize our days. Because it can get to a point where you could, if you structure shit correctly, Monday through Friday, you could be a workhorse and work from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Well, Andy Frisella does. He does this Power 5. He does your Power 5 list, episode 16. MFCEO really have podcast. And what he's done with his 5 crucial tasks, he fucks off.
Yes.
Literally.
Yep.
He goes, I could go tackle 10 more things. He goes, this is what I do. It's my Power 5 list. And that brings into their question is balance. And you kind of touched on that already, is personal health and well-being while running a business. And for the two of us running multiple businesses, how do you mitigate burnout? I plan it. It's first of all, you will run yourself ragged. If you're a competitive person and you have drive and you want to be the best, you will never have a moment during the day that you don't feel like you could get shit done. And it comes as anxiety and guilt because you don't get it all done. So one, scheduling, as Nick has already talked about, is a huge deal. Is for me, like with my wife and my children, is it all has to be planned out.
Yep.
And so understand with kids, sometimes plans are plans, but they have different plans. But I have to schedule vacations. I have to most of my trips are 2 days long,
right? And
I do them at least once a month. We were like, I'll pop out a Friday, come back on a Sunday, and we schedule it all in advance. I have to, and that's already blocked out. And I do it 4, 5, 6, 8 weeks at least in the future. That way, I know. Sorry, I'm gone. I got shit going on. Date nights, and my wife and I will attest to this. It was something that. We just had so much shit with the kids. We're like, oh, okay, we'll bypass. All of a sudden, it goes 2 months without date night. I'm like, no. Now Thursday nights and this night, this is date night. And if our kids, and we have 6, you'd think we have built-in babysitters, but now they have fucking jobs. So go earn your own damn money. So now I got a neighbor kid who's got it, who's like, okay, you're my backup babysitter to watch, as we call Roman, El Senior Dipshit, watch him so that because we have to make that time, and that prevents our burnout. It's if you love what you're doing, you can still get burnout.
Oh, 100%.
100%. And then usually for me, it's just a lesson I've learned from him is learning to cut out the bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm not empathetic. It's not that I don't care. It's just that I care about my wife and my children significantly more, as I should.
Right.
And if you're bringing negativity and bullshit to my circle, it's got to go, because I literally, you can agree, we don't have time for it.
No.
Because I'm going to bring that crap home to my kids, and that's not fair.
And on top of that, the other thing is it's going to change my mentality. And I'm not letting anybody take away from the mentality that I have. And so it's an aspect of like the individuals that I surround myself, that I allow in my circle and that have influence over what I do. It has to be a positive mindset.
Yeah. Otherwise,
all you're going to end up doing is drawing me back. Mm-hmm. And I refuse to go back from the progression that I've gone to.
Yep.
And so, I think one thing that I will say is this: as a business owner, there really is, as much as I would love to tell you that there's things such as balance, there really is no such thing as a balance as a business owner.
There's not.
Now, what I mean by that is you are 100% of the time going to be thinking about your business.
If you like what you do and you care about it, you will.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so when we're talking about balance, I think everybody has this bullshit idea of like, oh, you can walk away and you can make all this money and you can set people in place and,
shut it off.
Shut it off
every day. And it doesn't work.
It doesn't work that way. When you are trying to create something that nobody else has done, when you're trying to reach a level that few people can reach, there is no such thing as balance. It is an aspect that you have to start to structure your life correctly in order to achieve the goals without destroying everything else in your life.
Yeah.
That's balance. So what I would say is this, is at the end of the day, if you want to be truly successful in anything, you have to go hard as fuck and have a level of personal excellence and a idea of what you expect from yourself that you execute on every single day. That's where most people mess up, is they don't have the consistency day to day.
No.
And they don't have the structure. And because they don't have that structure or that consistency, their life goes to shit.
Well,
and they can't keep balance.
It's part of the same thing. I mean, you'll never run out of shit you need to get done. And that's where I'm such a firm believer in the Power 5 list, that hey, I'm a day structure. And here's 5 critical tasks that I have to get done today. No, this does not include taking a shit or making your lunch. Those are things you have to do.
Right.
But crucial tasks you have to get done, and understand when you've got those accomplished unless there's another massively pressing, immediate time is of the essence matter, drop it so you don't get burned out. I consider all fucking day with things I think are crucial till I will overwork myself to death. I've literally done it.
100%.
I've gone to the hospital because of this. So this is something that's very, very real with me with this question, because I have literally twice in a year basically worked myself into an exhausted state and ended up sick. And so I literally I need to feel accomplished. I need to mitigate my own anxiety and stress and guilt from not getting everything done, realizing that I have a level of motivation that I'm never going to get everything done that I want to get done, because I got some lofty fucking goals and I don't have a family trust fund. So this shit's on me. And you realize I get these major things I get done. And so I start structuring my week out in my calendar. Usually it's weeks in advance. I know exactly. We all met this morning and that we lost a Monday. Yeah. I'm happy 4th of July, everybody. But I lost a fucking Monday. Mondays are my kicking ass day where I get a lot of shit done. And so it makes my Tuesday interesting. So we're like, okay, guys, our 30-minute meeting is going to be 8 minutes. And that's literally what we did. Hammered it out, got it done. Boom, we're gone to the next thing. And that's what you have to do. But if you do the Power 5 list where you really structure your day and you say, these are the 5 critical tasks I have to get done, and you allow that if they're done, you can go do something else. Go fucking do something else.
Well, and I think the other thing is this is, again, that mindset is a entrepreneur mindset of like, I've got to get everything done right now. And the key to success and longevity in entrepreneurship is consistent execution of small tasks every single day.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things of like that. Yeah. If I complete 5 tasks that are critical tasks for that day, every single day, whatever 5 times 365 is, that's a shitload of steps forward in the right direction. Right. And it allows you to accomplish those things. And the other thing that I would tell you is this is what I do is I create every single morning, I write down my 5 critical tasks. And then every night before I go to bed, I look at my list of shit that should have gotten done.
1,825. Maybe I just want to do the math, but go ahead.
Thank you.
Sorry.
And then I look at my tasks of shit that should have been done. And when I journal at night, I write down those 5 tasks for the next day.
Yeah.
So I'm always taking my highest priority tasks and assigning them every single day. And then once those tasks are done, my brain doesn't think anymore. I'm done. It doesn't matter anymore. I did the 75 hard.
Yeah.
That was fun. Anybody that's not done 75 hard, try it. But I also then went into live hard.
Yeah.
And live hard, I've been able to tackle. The only thing that pisses me off that I keep screwing up is the damn 5-minute cold shower. Cause I
can't do it. I did it once.
I'm trying, I'm doing my best. But that's the only reason why I keep failing.
It's in my head.
It fucking pisses me off every day.
My old man's in my head. There's only one reason to take a cold shower. And so that's the thing. First thing that pops in my head, and I'm just like, no, like I get it. Shock the system. I understand the endorphin release. I'm like, I can't. I did it once.
I'm honestly getting to the point now where I'm like, I'm gonna just go to fucking Baumgar's, buy a fucking horse tank, and every night when I get home, just fill it with fucking cold water and just sit in it for 5 fucking minutes.
Like back in college football when they used to have
I was fine with that.
Yeah, but we used to have the whirlpool. Had the whirlpool, horse shops and ice. It was sub-zero temperature. And now getting in my cold swimming pool with my kids, I'm like, this is fucking torture.
Yeah.
It's an old thing. Maybe it's a
well, and I think, I will say it does build mental toughness, but it's a different kind of mental toughness that pisses me the fuck off. So I'm trying my best to do that. That's literally the only reason why I keep fucking failing at this live hard.
Yeah.
Is that one task. And I'm like, all right, I need to stop being a giant pussy and just do the 5 minutes and just be done with it.
I fucking hate that part.
Because everything else I'm still executing.
Yeah. Well, and that's another one that came in, and then this could lead into our little bit of announcement portion, I guess.
Yeah.
If you want to. How did you guys reach a point that you became business partners? I'll give the quick and ugly of that one.
I told him to fuck off for a while. I told him I didn't want anything to do with him for a little while. He was kind of a
that's
egotistical prick.
No, that's true, but I mean, it's not how you said it. Something about a big head. I don't remember. But anyways, Nick through the gym and the stores. Honestly, God knows, so many years ago, back when he was about half the size he is now. That's where I first met Danny too. He was training at the old 24-hour fitness in North Park, and then you'd work to complete. And then I finally, he's like, you should hire me. You should hire me. And then Nick just has that alpha mentality. It's like, you need me. I'm like, and first I'm like, I'm very fucking alpha. I'm like, I don't fucking need anybody. And I'm like, he's really good. He did do Body by Vibe, but I'll let that slide. I'll let that slide. So I finally come around to talk. I finally come around to talk about like, hey, I have a manager job opening up. How old were you when you started before you did the GNC thing? 24?
24.
Like
that, yeah.
I'm like, hey, and then he goes, yeah, sorry, bro. Just took a job managing like 7 franchise GNCs across 3 states, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, fuck, you set me up. You just wanted me to come ask you. So you tell me to go fuck off. And so whatever, but I have respect for that. He had a job, whatever. And then it was, God, what, a year? Maybe? Maybe a year.
Yep.
And then he's like, hey, you should hire me. I'm like, I already tried that once. Yeah, but I don't like where the fuck I'm at. I'm getting fucked over. And I was like, okay, talked about it. And I'm like, okay, I have a job opening up, and it worked out. Well, then how it came about was that I'm like, okay, well, here's the numbers, here's the goals. And he told me straight up, he goes, I don't think you've ever had a manager quite like me. Like, I don't lose. I'm like, well, here's the record. And he goes, okay, I'm going to double it. Okay, whatever. 90 fucking days. 90 days for a store that had already been there for 4 years. Nick broke the record in one of the toughest months of the year, and he didn't just crush it. He fucking doubled it.
Yep.
And then that led into him, hey, I'm like, can I hire who I want to hire? Sure. He goes, I got this friend, Cody Guffey. He's not much to look at, but he's a trainer at Anytime Fitness. You should hire him. I meet Cody, who's now our number 1 franchisee, actually, number 1 grossing single store franchisee in the country, who also ended up managing for us. And then Nick translated from store manager into director of inventory and brand development, title I made up at the time. It sounded really good though.
It did sound good.
Really long on a business card though. Fuck me. And Nick started negotiating with a wholesale account, all of our wholesale accounts that we were buying from all of our vendors. And they did. They all hated him. I got a lot of complaints. I'm like, God, I really hired the right person for this, And it was everyone like Frank was like, God, Nick just put the screws to me. And I'm like, you realize he's saving me money. And like, what do you think? I'm going to go reprimand his ass? Fuck, I'm going to give him a raise. Then it turned into, Nick coached me in a show, saw me going through prep, and it was hell. I got super sick. Kept telling me, let me take you over. I'm like, nah, I'm on this thing. Well, I ended up sick with metabolic damage, got really sick. And your old coach is the one that told me to quit competing because my internal organs were shutting down.
Yep.
I'd overtrained so severely. Came back and then, all right, I'm going to do this. Let's just get it done. It took me for about 4 or 5 months. And I remember him, like, Nick doesn't do compliments real well. And I sent him okay, here's my physique now. He goes, oh, you're not nearly as terrible as I thought it was going to be. I'm going to take that as a compliment. And it was one. Thanks, Nick. Yep. We coached into a show, and Nick was looking for something to buy into. We had talked about buying into Rexius at the time, but my structure at Rexius is extremely complicated. In a corporate standing, it's just very, very complicated, different shareholders, different years and different contracts. And I know that he wanted to. And so we went out to LA, compete in a show. Next day, go to Ed Koo's gym over at Kratos.
Yeah.
And then my wife, who had been on my ass consistently for 3 years about opening a gym. And then Nick's like, hey, we should really open a gym like this. And then Brittany, we should open a gym like this. And basically came down to it in the airport was like, I'm not doing this with employees. We're doing this as partners. And Nick's like, full in, that's it, full send, we're going to go. Mm-hmm. And, I found a building that wasn't completely terrible, signed a lease, and then found out that the other guy was going to stay. So they canceled our lease, and then they had a building next door, which happened to be a CrossFit gym. And that was it. Nick was still working for Rexius at the time because the warehouse was sharing space in this tiny little gym. And somehow Langer over here convinced Ed to hold the first amateur Super League event.
Yep.
And we didn't have weights. They hadn't shown up yet. So we had to borrow fucking weights from people.
Dude, okay, hold on. Let me stop you there. I had to rent kilo plates from a guy in the middle of fucking nowhere in Iowa. And I drove out to this place to get these weights. And it was late at night because that's the only time you can meet. And it was this like warehouse style bullshit shed building that was behind a gas station in literally the middle of nowhere. And I pull up and this big dude, he's standing there and I'm like, all right, either this dude's going to like kill me or he's actually got weights. And he goes into this like rinky dink building, opens the door. And yeah, he's got like, it's filled with kilo plates and barbells and all that shit. But yeah, we cause we had ordered our weights but they weren't going to come in time.
Yeah. We were
And
told
so
they were.
we were told they were, but they did not. And so we ended up paying for kilo plates. But I was bound and determined because I wasn't going to look like an asshole, considering we had Ed Koo, we had John Meadows, we had, what was his name? Jay Jung or whatever, the owner of Super League at that time. So we had everybody coming out, and I'm like, well, I got to get this shit figured out somehow, some way. So I was like, well, the weird dude in the middle of nowhere that's got chainsaws and whatever else, I guess I'm going to fucking buy from him. So yeah, so that was a fun event. That was actually the first injury that ever happened in that gym too.
Yeah, it was during that event. He snapped his
patella.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. And you heard the snap from fucking 10 miles away.
Yeah, I had to go right after him.
And I looked at Nick. I go, well, this business was good while it lasted. We're sued and we haven't even opened their doors yet. And thank God he was cool about it. He goes, no, I chose this event. It ain't on you. I'm like, oh my God, freaking love you, dude.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it. And then Nick was kind of running in the gym at the time, but we were kind of double dipping, really, like helping in the warehouse. We had a pro shop. And then the whole thing just turned into this monstrosity. The warehouse wasn't big enough. The gym got too full after it took us 6-7 months to finally get to a point where we weren't losing our asshole. And then we're like, you know what? Now that we're breaking even, let's go into debt again and do another one. So I talked my wife into cashing out her other 401k because I didn't have it. And then you pulled out the Langer Federal Credit Union card. And we did a second one and then doubled the size of the first one. And then, then obviously doubled down on our morals and beliefs during COVID and refusing to close. Made us extremely popular, and then opened the third one and just expanded the first one again. I needed a bigger warehouse for Rexius VHI, and that's just kind of how it translated, and which leads to a little announcement, I guess, if we can make that announcement on here.
Yeah, sure.
So, VHI has been almost 5 years now, but most of these formulas I created starting back in 2008, 2009, 2010. And slowly transitioned 6 different brands that Shane and I didn't want anybody to know that we owned into one label and launched it at the Olympia 4.5 years ago. And the O.P.P, the Omaha Protein Popcorn Company, rebrand, check it out. And label. And then Nick and I got to talking, and it was kind of transition over the last 6 months. Yeah. We talked about stuff before, making an Iron Heaven line, and then COVID and supply and demand chain, and finally it was, hey, we should just sponsor you. Quit sending people to go buy other shit. It's pissing me off because, we're partners in one business and not the retail company. And then it transitioned, well, hey, maybe we should make a clinical line to combat some of these other formulas that need to be improved that are grossly overpriced. Then it turned into, hey, why don't you just fucking buy in the whole thing? And happy to announce that Nick is one of the newest business partners and investors and owners of VHI O.P.P.
Yes, sir.
With about fucking 35 new SKUs about to launch.
I got a little ambitious.
Hey, that's but honestly, it's what I needed. And that was the thing, is I always believe you bring in business partners. And that's the fact of the question. When you have a business partner, it should not be based purely on finances. So the fact is I don't need finance. It never hurts. That's for goddamn sure. But I need somebody else who's just as driven as I am, who brings things to the table that I don't have. That's it. The smartest thing you can do is partner up with people who have different skill sets. Nick is a hell of a lot better at accountability than I am. I'm getting better. Nick definitely has what was our motto? No new friends?
No new friends.
No new friends. Yeah. And we've been burned by previous partners in the past, so we both know what that's like. And somebody else is on the same driven mission, who's got other businesses, who's got other things. And the thing is that, and Frisella's talked about this, having businesses that literally mitigate into each other's different businesses, that we're all in the same field, just different facets. Yep. Makes a lot of sense. And that's, Brad and JD also getting stock option shares in the company now as owners, because I really figured out that my core group of people around me are owners. Mm-hmm. That's the mentality that breathes life into me, that makes me better at what I do and want to be better versus people who just want to check. Nothing wrong with people who are employees. A lot of entrepreneurs, if you didn't consider an entrepreneur, then go work for a big company that has all those cushy benefits that I can't get. But that's pretty much how we got to the point that we did this, which leads to the next question is, what's the future of your businesses look like in your head?
Oh, well, I would say this, we've got a member goal that we want to hit by the end of this year. I think it'll be hit before that, probably September. Within the next, September, probably within the next 3 months. before we do an expansion at one of our locations, to be honestly probably one of the biggest facility that we'll have out of all three, and all sorts of bells and whistles and brand new shit.
Brand new shit.
So that'll be a fun adventure that'll happen over probably within the next 6 to 12 months. So the gyms, prospectively, basically our goal is about it would be basically 1.5x growth over the next basically 12 months.
Yep.
Between the three locations. And I with how we've continued to grow, we've been very blessed. We've got an amazing community. We've got amazing staff. We've got an amazing GM that, has been producing for us and been helping us. And, we continue to improve structure and continue to improve the gyms and invest in the gyms in order to continue to grow them, and continue to, keep on our mission that we've had from day one, which is anybody that steps foot in our gyms has every opportunity to chase their own level of greatness.
Yeah.
And so, that's the goal when it comes to the gyms. The gyms are, we will be doing another expansion. We will be doing, future eventually. 5-year plan. We're probably look at one more lection in the Omaha, quote unquote, metro area. And we'll leave it at that. Yeah, we're going to leave it at that. But that's kind of the future for the gyms. There's a lot of internal stuff that's kind of going around right now. There's a lot of structural things that'll be changing just to make sure that we continue to keep it as every single member first.
Yeah.
And everybody that is in our gym understands that, we are solely about every single person, and making sure that every person has the opportunity to be the best they can. So that would be the gyms.
Yeah.
BR. So BR, it's about to go through actually a massive transition here. I've got one key player that's going to be coming on board again. He kind of left for a little while and is now coming back.
Okay.
So he'll be coming back. When that happens, it'll be a complete rebrand and complete overhaul of BR Physiques. It will be to the point where we actually have two different branches within the coaching system. So we'll have a aesthetics and athletics version, and we will have a hormonal and functional version of coaching. And so I'll have an entire team that is solely based around functional health and hormonal health. And we have a HRT clinic that we're already lined up with that sees eye to eye with us very well. And so that'll be one avenue. And then I have an entire team of coaches that want to stick with athletics and more aesthetic style stuff. And so that will be another branch. And then on top of that, one of my guys on my team is taking over the branch of all in-person training inside of the gyms. So he'll be running that. So I'll basically have two leads, one that's running all of the in-person training inside the gym, one that's running the hormonal division, and then I'll be looking over the athletics and aesthetics version. And so the structure is kind of growing and expanding and changing as we go. On top of that, continuing education for all of my coaches will basically be probably by the end of this year. It'll probably be a team of close to 10 to 12 coaches across the entire team.
That's awesome.
So great.
Yeah.
The business is growing. Everything's doing well. My goal is just to continue to improve the knowledge, the understanding, and the education that's not only for my coaches, but also for the clientele that are out there. And then, I think that's it for BR Physiques.
Yeah.
I mean, there's,
it's massive growth. I mean, it's a lot though from what you've done in 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah. Well, technically, I mean, realistically, as far as the coaches go, it's only been about 2 years now. So the coaching business is evolving as we go. There's a lot of learning and lessons and things that I'm taking away as we're growing, which is fun. But it also shows how much structure and what can happen when you actually start to kind of really vision things out.
Yeah.
Much like we've talked about, it's one of those aspects of, creating the procedures and tweaking those procedures as we go.
Yeah.
And, also making sure that everybody understands their roles and everybody's on the same page. So I'm excited because I'm actually going to take the entire team on a trip in August. I don't remember anymore. To Kansas City, taking them all to a Royals game. Gonna go. I already rented out a giant Airbnb. We're gonna stay there. We're gonna go to
awesome.
We're gonna go to Worlds of Fun, Oceans of Fun the next day, and just go out as a team and have fun and really start to build that camaraderie. And eventually, I want to get to the point where those can be trips to some island or something like that. You know what I mean? So I always want the key here is at the end of the day, I want every single one of my coaches that are on my team to understand that all I care about is that their legacy for their family is what they can create.
Yeah.
The bonus of increasing revenue for the entire team is great, but I want my people to actually be able to live, survive, and thrive.
Yeah.
And, it's not anymore. It's not about what I want. It's about them. So.
Well, it is. I mean, you're basically putting them in ownership of their own destiny through their 100%. Choice. And that's where I've been at with the stores. With Rexius, it's I'm in my 12 years here in 3 weeks. 12 years since I opened the first fucking door, and having 30 some doors open later, it's insane to me. I have 3 new franchises getting set to open here in about the next about 60 days, 2 different states. Which is freaking amazing. And, the new state for me in Arizona, which is going to be awesome. And I got 2 more here, basically in the metro as well. And then, it's been fun. It's been insane. I started in a recession and we're going through one now, been through a pandemic, doing all these things. We've had a few stores close over the years, nothing, but my ratio isn't phenomenal, but every single one that ever did close, I take as a personal responsibility, whether it's my fault or not. It just is what it is. My name's on the door. Yep. But I've had a major transition the last 4 years ago. People who listen to this podcast know I've been selling off stores. I sold Norfolk, Sioux City, Council Bluffs, sold Kearney, took it back, I'm gonna sell it again. And I sold Bellevue, and I'm gonna be selling Exarban here at some point in the near future as well. And I don't know about Maple and Center, maybe someday. And it was not the plan, but you have to adapt. That's kind of part of it. That's where I see the future. I like owners. I know, and when I was younger and I was naive at 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, even it's really when the transition happened that I don't want to keep replacing people.
Yeah.
Because eventually people are worth their salt. They will go find a way to be an owner. I attract that mentality. And, like I said, I made the mistake. I had you, Shane, and Guffey. I was like, employees are easy. These guys all kick ass. You guys are the exception to the rule. Mm-hmm. Webster, all these guys, Josh, Jack, these guys that I sold stores to, is that they're exception to the rule. And so I'm going to make the exceptions to the rule be owners. And that's kind of my mission. That's what the podcast, why I do what I do. And it just makes more sense to allow these managers to own and long profit model the system. It's just, you can't, our society has changed.
Yep.
Employing people is significantly more challenging than it was even 5 years ago. And so I've had to adapt my business, being like, I don't know if I want that challenge. I want them to own. I don't want to, keep replacing people. Yep. It just sucks. But it's good. I thought someday my kids would take over certain stores. But I'm also training them and raising them to be owners.
Yep.
On every aspect. So the last thing I want to do is hire one of my kids and have them quit on me. And Brittany put that to me when she goes, you know how bad when your kid runs the shop and kicks ass and you don't let them run it, then they quit. I'm like, oh, fuck, my kids quit? I didn't even think about that. Yeah. I don't want that shit, Right. And that kind of happened. VHI, between the addition of you and Brad and JD and the 5 of us with Brittany, it's been many years and a lot of years like the popcorn, landing a national grocery chain account last week that we're in the process of figuring out how that works, but I got full board approval. We got 4 board approval from the biggest retail independent chain group in the country about 3 weeks ago that we're flying out to in August at 90,000 convenience stores. So I'm going to mitigate and just navigate that fucking mess. Yeah, and I'm excited about the challenge, a new challenge. And I guess after being in business this many years, having these new challenges for me is exciting as shit.
Oh, yeah.
On the functional snack side and then on the supplement side, getting into the more competitive clinically dosed and I mean, it's just been fun.
Yeah.
You know, I finally feel like I'm in a position where I have enough money to be able to make this happen. Before we wanted to,
Right.
but man, it was hard, and it's not one of those businesses you can just jump into if you have a lot of money, there's a high probability you probably don't give a shit.
Right.
And if you really give a shit, there's high probability you don't have money. We're finally in that position where we kind of have both.
Right.
Where I care and we got the finances to make this happen. And, you know, we're retailers, so we also know what's acceptable, what's not.
100%.
And to build something that, you know, I admire First Form, and that's a goal. And, you know, Teach or any of you guys ever listen to this, for Sal, Andy, you guys listen, this is a question we ask ourselves: what would First Form do here?
Yeah.
And understand that, we're quite boisterous here, that you guys have built something amazing. I plan on building something even more amazing. Yep. And hats off. Like there's very few companies in this world that I really look at and admire and say, that's what I want. But that's one. And it was Nick was down there training for a show, and he goes, all right, let's fucking go. Yeah. All right, let's go.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things of you walk in there and just to see that level of execution and to see that level of perfection, and also the camaraderie that's inside of that entire building of everybody that's in there. I'm like, this is home, man. This is what it should be. And I think from our perspective, there are holes in the industry that we are seeing because there are individuals that are in our industry that are taking advantage of the retailer side of things when it comes to what they're doing as far as wholesale goes, when it comes to what they're doing as far as the products they're putting out. And, you know, it's one of those aspects of when it comes to VHI, my promise to you, all of you, is that especially something that I put my name on will be clinically dosed, will be fairly priced, and will knock the shit out of anything else that's on the market. That's it.
Amen to that.
So
that's the question. What's the difference between yours and what's in other stores? Simple. It will be the best.
Yeah.
It's the biggest question I get when I go to conventions, when I talk to people who are like, hey, took your product versus the one I bought at Wally World and it worked. I go, it's fucking real. It's made in the US. Correct. It's tested. It's third-party tested. It's batch tested. It's made in an FDA-registered, GMP-certified facility. I've gone through because I'm a nutbag on this. There's so much fake crap, much less even people who just underdose things. People who just straight up lie. Correct. And by making a quality product that impacts somebody's life and helps fix a problem, you create loyalty. Yep. And, you know, I feel like we're at this perfect time right now in position when everyone else is, honestly, they're coasting. Yep. They're on idle. And I'm 100 miles an hour. That's
okay. Let me put it this way. What was that? 17 when we started the gyms? Yep. Okay. 2017 when we started the gyms, we risked everything.
Literally.
To open that gym. You signed your house. I signed my house.
401ks were gone. Everything's gone.
Right. And put whatever we've made as far as money aside, which we really still haven't made our money back from when we first started the gyms. No. But let's put that aside. The impact that we've created with those gyms, I wouldn't change for the fucking world. No. I see what we're about to do with VHI is going to be even bigger than what we did with Iron Heaven.
Because it's international.
And I am 100% on board when it comes to something that I know can create true impact, not only to the consumer, but also to the retailer. Yeah. Because I understand what's going on with brick and mortar right now. I understand how they're getting their dicks kicked in for the most part. Yep. And at the end of the day, our line is going to be and will not compromise on the aspect of being a retail friendly fucking brand.
For you guys out there that are listening and watching, whatever, understand, like, let me explain the retail landscape real quick so you understand what's been going on and how every small business retailer in the country has been kicked in the dick the last fucking 36 months. There were a bunch of brands that had stock and then COVID happened and refused to sell it to us to make sure they can make full profit off their website. Most of them didn't have the balls to even say it to your face and just lie about it. There's a few that had the balls, and I got your respect, but you ain't going to get my money. Then they come back and the supply and demand chain is jacked up and they're not manipulating it. It is jacked up. It's a worldwide market in the industry that we are in because we get ingredients from all over the world because you can't grow certain shit here. You grow in another country. So it is part of it. Plastics, everything. Our industry is so multi-international of any other industry. This is one because the ingredients are everywhere. Plastics are, it's a very large industry. Raw materials are owned overseas. Like it's a lot of negotiations. And so I'm not blaming them, but what they do, we're going to give you a deal. Price went up, but we're not going to raise our MAP. MAP stands for minimum advertised price. So we're going to raise your cost $10, but we're going to raise the MAP $5. So we have to eat that difference. Oh, but we're not going to enforce these jackasses on Amazon who are still selling at last year's price. So now we actually eat the whole $10. But don't worry, we really care about you. Then a week later, they're emailing to your customers, not realizing I have separate email accounts and I have one as a customer. Now you're doing buy one, get one half off plus a free handy and free shipping when you fucking buy it, which is cheaper than I can even buy it for as a retailer who's been purchasing $500,000 a year from this company for the last 12 years. I'll let you do that math. Yep, it's $6 million. And they're going to screw me. And this is happening all over the place. You got companies, they all start with wall. You got companies that end with co. You got companies like that, have two abbreviations less than the C, like an NC, and there's another letter in front of it, who are getting all their shit made in China, who are not lab tested, which are completely and utterly fake. They're nature proteins. Is it protein? Sure. Does it digest for muscle? No, it doesn't. Not chemically possible. And it's just based on the ignorance of people and laziness of people that I'm just going to order a button on my phone. And nobody would ever actually do that. The fuck they won't. Real retailers are doing it correct because we care about our customers because we have to see you every day. We see you at church. We see you at the Little League game. We see you on the 4th of July parade, all that bullshit. And we know that we have to deliver results. And those retailers who are the backbone, small business of the United States, we employ 48% of the population, even post-COVID, are still taking it in the dick. So our brand is going to help every one of those. And we're about to do something that's certifiably insane. Insane. And I'll have an announcement on that at a later date. But let's put it this way. Nobody's ever done it, because everyone thinks it's insane. But here's how great my business partners are, right? I call my wife first. She's like, let me explain it to me again. I don't think I'm understanding you right. You're gonna sell this for cost to other stores. Yes. Why? Because fuck the man. That's why. Yep. She's okay. Then I call Brad quick. Text Nick. I got something to tell you. Call Brad. Oh, that's brilliant. GD's like, holy shit. Can we actually do that? I go, yes, we can. Get Nick on the phone. Well, wait a minute. For free? Well, not free, cost. Oh, this is glorious. Thank you. And that's why these 5 people are the people that we're going to take over the fucking world with. Because any other room, I'm laughed out or committed.
Correct.
I will be fucking committed or kicked out of the fucking company. I've been in a lot of corporations, but that's what we're committed to doing. And that's what's going on right now. So if somebody can make a difference, not only can we make it the best fucking product that helps the customer achieve their fucking goals and their dreams, we're going to help the retailers, not just stick it to the man.
Yep.
And we're going to do it collectively as a group. Because if we don't start to stand up collectively as a group, we're all going to get trampled as individuals.
Correct.
And that's what's happening to small businesses, what's happening to retail. It's really, really bad in the health and new fitness industry. It's fucking terrible. Yep. You're able to get away with selling your brand based on some douchebag who competed one time, who doesn't give a fuck, doesn't know what's in it, fucks the retailer in the process because he's got a fucking little mustache and thinks he's fucking cute now. Yeah. To take your lisp and shove it up your ass. Anyways, but I don't care. Like, we have to start to collectively come together to win, or we will be destroyed as individuals.
I agree.
And having 5 people on the same similar mission, all challenging each other. And I bet you guys think that our little meetings are cute. They're not. They're not. Sometimes they're just straight up uncomfortable. But greatness does not come out of comfort zones. We have to challenge each other. We have to push each other to be the best that we can be, push past what we think is capable. And honestly, that's why when I need my ass chewed, I talk to Nick, because he's not going to sugarcoat. I don't need people kissing my ass.
I don't sugarcoat anything.
Ever. Yeah. But it's the same point in time. We all have our own delivery mechanism and we all have different skill sets. But the whole point is we're all striving for a fucking goal. And if 5 people can be completely dedicated and disciplined to hit 100% effectiveness and proficiency for even a period of 12 months, the fucking world is your goddamn oyster. And that's really the method of it. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to do something and it's going to be nuts. And I've learned that's the kind of shit that makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. And after being in business that long, that's the fucking feeling you go for. Yep. You know, I've risked everything 12 times over and I'll keep doing it. I'm risky. I'm fine with that. But it's that shit that I know I'm going to help some dude. I had one of my franchisees. I texted this to him this morning. I had one text me privately, goes, fuck yes. Because you don't understand. No, fucker, I do. Right. This is what we're going to do. We're going to make an impact. You're going to make more money and give a higher quality product, and you don't have to worry about Walmart fucking kicking your dick. And what a fucking huge and honorable position to be in. Yep. And I'm just excited. The next year, the next 6 months, 12 months is going to be insane. And you got to think, it wasn't that many years ago. First Form only had 6 employees. Oh, yeah. And now they have 300 in a 200,000 square foot facility and they're out of room.
And they're making another one.
I know. Yeah. So, you know, and the thing is for me, I cheer that shit on. I mean, am I jealous? Sure. I emulate it. Yeah. And that's, I mean, true entrepreneurs, I'm like, wow, that's awesome. Good for you guys. It's badass. I listen to their podcast. Yeah, technically they're a competitor. Sure. But I'm going in a different avenue. I'm not trying to be everybody's everything. I'm trying to be somebody's something. This part of this line is not just for everybody. It's for the dedicated, the people who want something better. And that's really where we're at. And like the gyms, could we make more money if we opened a daycare and did this and that, raised our price? Fucking we could. Yeah. But it's not what we're trying to be. And I'm not trying to be everybody's everything. And I think that's really where we tried for a minute. Oh yeah. And we took it in the ass on that one. That was terrible. We lost a lot of money and we realized let's just stick to what we do. And there are YMCAs, they're great. I have membership. There are gyms, I won't talk about them. Lifetime, sure. You want the spot, that's a great gym. People go there. Giovanni still goes there. Fucker still hasn't got an Ironhead membership. This business is across the street. Yeah, I'm talking about you, dickhead. Even some of my best friends don't have memberships yet, and that's okay. That means I haven't earned their business yet. Right. And I don't look at it as a fault. But anyways, closing thoughts?
No. Let's kick fucking ass for the next 6 months.
Let's kick fucking ass for the next 6 months. All right, guys. See you.
155 you can be a friend of me, an enemy. Keep that same old energy, cause I know I'm in my element. Ooh, yeah. I'm in my element. Ooh, yeah. I'm in my element.